Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen. This is a review for Taxi Life, a driving simulator. My bad, a city driving simulator. I got the code from GameCritics.com. My article should be up in a bit, so you can go to the site, plug, if you'd rather see this in text form. Alright, so in the hectic city streets of Barcelona, my taxi driver's journey unfolds in Taxi Life, a city driving simulator, a simulation game that promises both realism and adventure, but does it live up to its title? Let's cruise into the high-pressure world of taxi driving in one of the most beautiful cities on the planet.
Welcome to the vibrant city of Barcelona, where history meets modernity in a symphony of architectural wonders. From the bustling, narrow streets of the Gothic Quarter to the breathtaking landmarks the city has to offer, your journey as a taxi driver begins. Feel the sea breeze on your face as you cruise along sun-kissed beaches and embark on an unforgettable adventure. Embrace the spirit of Barcelona and become the most sought-after taxi driver in town. But first, let's get you a taxi driver's license.
In Taxi Life, the player is a business owner starting a taxi company in Barcelona. The objective is to grow the company by completing taxi fares, purchasing new vehicles, upgrading said vehicles, hiring drivers and sending them out to complete taxi fares to eventually become the taxi king or queen of Barcelona. Besides driving, why am I saying Barcelona? It's Barcelona. Okay. Besides driving customers to and fro, there are other activities in Taxi Life that provide XP. XP, which can be used to invest in perks that make the rise of the player's taxi empire a little easier. Places to discover usually lead to graffiti paintings, and the XP gain isn't significant. Interesting architecture tasked me with visiting famous sites like the Triumphal Arch of Barcelona, amongst others. Challenges are just more demanding taxi fares, mostly requiring speed coupled with minimal collisions. There are varied camera options including cockpit, dash and hood. It would have been nice to have more options for a third-person camera because the one offered is a little too close to the car, in my opinion. Barcelona feels alive in Taxi Life, rendered with good attention to detail with albeit very little traffic. From iconic landmarks to narrow alleys, the city is a joy to navigate, except when I made a turn into the many one-way streets because I didn't notice the road sign. Then it wasn't so joyful. The driving mechanics offer a decent experience with some quirks like oversteer and delayed reactions to sharp turns. Despite some shortcomings, the nuanced interactions with passengers is a welcome addition. These interactions can sometimes lead to more or less satisfaction from said customers, so be careful when responding to them. For example, when an occupant asked me what fun activities were available in Barcelona, I suggested the beach and kept referencing the beach after they had already said they weren't interested. They got irritable and lost some of the patience bar, which directly influences their final rating of the ride, which obviously is going to affect how much they're going to pay out. I did get speeding tickets for driving too fast, as there are some speed cams peppered throughout the city, although 20 euros wasn't enough to dissuade me from speeding often. When looking at the time saved plus the fare I will make, minus the tiny fine, it was an obvious choice. Speeding all the way. The perk tree is worth taking the time to study judiciously before investing perk points. The driving perk is focused on boosting the speed at which XP points are acquired. The proficiency perk is a mix with benefits from the availability of... excuse me, I'm having a drink. Excuse me. The proficiency perk is a mix with benefits from the availability of VIP jobs that pay a lot more money to the car, taking less damage. The maintenance perk is exactly what it says in the name. All maintenance services like towing, mechanic, and cleaning are cheaper to access. The law obedience perk provides increased XP for observing traffic laws, reduced taxes for hitting pedestrians, and the cancellation of one or two tickets at the end of the business day, among others. Then we have my personal favorite perk, the company perk. This perk provides the ability for drivers to cost less to my company in terms of salary, the lowering of fixed costs to the company, and making drivers more productive in terms of amounts of money they can rake in for the company when they're sent out on missions. These all add a layer of strategy to an otherwise straightforward taxi driving experience. Multiple language options include English, Spanish, Italian, Japanese, Korean, Dutch, Polish, Brazilian Portuguese, Russian, Mandarin, Arabic, Catalan Spanish, German, and French cater to a diverse player base, enhancing accessibility. The vehicles in this game are generic, of course. All I saw was similar designs to vehicles I've seen in real life. The GTA approach was taken, and no doubt the cost of licensing was at the forefront. Thankfully, the lack of licensed cars does not take away from the immersion factor. While the voice acting is passable, it lacks the polish expected from a modern game such as this. However, the well-written dialogue compensates for this, providing believable and sometimes humorous interactions with passengers. I once did a bad fare, and the customer said, "I hope your driving improves, not that I'll ever give you another chance to show me." There are only 4 radio stations: Neon Nights for techno and cyberpunk-fueled synth tracks. Groove City FM offers light pop tracks with a dash of jazz. Thunderhead FM is for the rock aficionados, although for the life of me, I cannot see how rock music could possibly live alongside calm taxi driving. And finally, we have Radio Classic, which is the closest one will get to calming music for a pretty tense game. I would recommend just turning off the music entirely in Taxi Life and firing one of Yo-Yo Ma's rendition of Bach's Cello Suite No. 5 instead. Taxi Life strives for realism, but it falls short in some aspects. While believable, vehicle damage adds to the immersion. The lack of consequences for traffic violations feels unrealistic. Hitting pedestrians netted me a €100 fine, not a high price to pay considering the thousands I easily stacked in the first few taxi fares I completed. One would expect a heavier hand with such infractions. Accidents are the same way. Besides the damage to the vehicle, nothing else happens. No fine, no police report, no damage to the customer's patience meter either. Accidents usually ruin a normal person's day. What more a taxi driver? Yet in taxi life, it has the same weight as bumping into someone in the real world and dropping one's laptop bag as a result. Annoying, sure, but not exactly the end of my day. I might be spending a little too much on this point, but I feel like for a simulation game, the developers did not spend enough time on this same point. Passing a red light in front of the police car does not net the player a fine of any kind. This was particularly immersion breaking. A persistent but light stutter might be enough to make someone to quit the game. There seems to be an optimization issue here. Another glaring issue is the mispronunciation of Barcelona's name, a detail that may irk locals and some well-traveled folk. It is pronounced Barcelona and not Barcelona. Additionally, the portrayal of traffic levels feels lacking for such a vibrant city. Perhaps opting for a fictional setting would have alleviated these concerns. Taxi Life offers a mixed bag of experiences, blending realism with arcadey fantasy upgrading system. But there are enough missed opportunities for trepidation. While the attention to detail and perk system impress, issues like mispronunciations and lackluster consequences detract from the experience. Despite its flaws, the game provides a unique glimpse into the life of a taxi driver in the heart of Catalonia's capital. As this is my first foray into taxi simulation, I cannot say if Taxi Life is doing anything new. What I can say is that it will scratch the itch of most simulation gaming enthusiasts. It is not a genre-defining game, but it's worth the time and effort it demands. I would tacitly recommend simulation fans get this game, but for newcomers, I would say tread with caution. This is not a blockbuster, it is a simulation game in the true sense of the word. Thank you for listening.